Have you ever asked yourself the question, what does it take to invest in real estate and make sure you're capitalizing on the tax benefits that goes with it? So in today's video, that's what I'm gonna talk about. So welcome to Cashflow Friday. And the job of Cashflow Friday is simple. I want you to get in a position so that you can maximize real estate investing and so that it can be and not only the benefits that we all know real estate investing does, but Cashflow Friday started with me realizing that when Friday come, a lot of people, what do? We have our jobs, that is our primary source of income, and we always want to have an outing. And most of the time, you do good at your work or you've invested in real estate, but you have not done the necessary work to continue to grow and get into a better position where obviously real estate is not only paying you more, but give you more peace of mind. So I believe Fridays should be days that you get income from your properties, from your business. And in this case, we're talking about business so that you can have more peace of mind. So, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about taxes. So let's jump into taxes. All right. So first thing, let's look at why is taxes a huge advantage? Well, the reason why taxes is a huge advantage is because it incentivizes you. If you're buying real estate, or if you're investing in real estate, it gets you in a position to say, all right, now picture this is you renting. If you rent, do you know how much tax benefits you get? Zero. All right, now let's say you own your home. Say you own your house. How much tax benefits do you get there? Well, we know you get depends. Anywhere you can get anywhere from 20% or more. It just depends on how you structure it. You know, if it's in an LLC, if it has other things attached to it. So, and I'm not going to get into that in too much depth. So just below, two things, just quick promo. I have a free cash flow sheet so that you can say, hey, if I want to start evaluating properties, I want to download that link. But then also I have a class that I'm going to be doing one-on-one coach setting, legacy coach setting. So I'm going to be doing one-on-one group setting coaching that's going to be coming up here in August. So if you want to be able to learn more about that or dive much deeper into my course and a lot of things that we have coming, make sure you go to the link below and inquire about that so that we can send you more information. So back to it. So let's talk about, all right, so if I rent, I have zero tax benefits. If I own, I have maybe 20% tax benefits. But then you may see these $3. So anybody ever play Monopoly? So because one of the things I know with Monopoly is if you have, well, it's four homes. So let's go ahead and get that fourth one on there. So let's say you have 4 homes. Y'all bear with me. It's just houses. What will happen? Well, what will the tax benefits be on this? Now, let's start with depreciation, because depreciation is something that you do get a benefit when you own your houses. So let's say, how much can you depreciate and how far out can you depreciate something that is a investment property? Well, you have 27 years if it's, residential, and you have 39 if it's commercial. So off the bat, when you are investing in a real estate deal, depreciation is something that you can be able to benefit from. So depreciation is just basics, the wear and tear of the investment. So let's think about this. Like, you have a home and that house itself is going to deteriorate. So this is you. And so over time, you actually can write off and get tax benefits for the wear and tear of your property. Think about that for a second. So if you rent something, the wear and tear, you're like, oh man, this house is getting old. I'm getting tired of it. But guess what? You get no tax benefits. Now, if you own your house, you do get a little depreciation, but not much. Depends on how you structure it. But on your properties, the first thing you get is depreciation, and you can be able to get a tax benefit up to 27 years on your rental property. So what that does is not only save you money out of your pocket, I put more money in your pocket so that you can either invest in your team, invest in yourself, which is more important than anything else, so that you can make better decisions to scale and grow. All right. So that's one. So second thing, let's think about the expenses. So if I have my expenses when it comes to rental property, let's say you have your rents, that's an expense. Let's say any repairs that has to go with your rental property, and also your interest. Now, you do get this over here on your home as well when you can write off. But think about over time, if you have more than one rental property, this is huge benefits. And also, another thing, insurance. So the rent that you collect on your rental property, not only will that get you in a position to offset your taxes, but the repairs, let's think about it. So things come up where you need to fix things. I always tell people, put back 20 to 30% for your repairs. But if your tax strategy is worked out correctly, then guess what? You can be able to write off a lot of the repairs because it's an expense of owning property. Interest, the interest that you pay on a rental property helps you and benefits you to be able to pay lower taxes. Now, you may say, like, how much will I be able to pay in taxes? Here's the truth. I'm not a CPA. I got to say that, right? When you're talking about taxes, I'm not a CPA. But what I am is someone who have invested in real estate. Me and my wife have successfully built our rental portfolio up to over 20 properties and 20 doors. And we're in this stage where we're, kind of playing the monopoly game, going to the bigger stages. And the reality of that is we've seen a lot of these benefits. And so I teach you from these points. So when you have interest that you pay, because it's generally built into the mortgage based on the property. So you can be able to benefit from that. And then so you have your insurance. So let's think about it. You have to pay your insurance on a yearly basis for your rental property. And that alone allows you to gain just a lot of money back in your pocket. So think about this. When you are looking at rental properties, you always are going to have, anytime your income, in this case, your income is your rent, then you're going to have your expenses. This is something that I think it took me a while to understand. So you have your income, expenses. So after that, this was considered your net. You know what? This is what you're taxed on. So if you're taxed on, you have your income for your rental property, then your expenses, guess what all these are considered? These are considered expenses. And so when you have these expenses that's going to equal to this, then that means your taxes naturally will be lower. So what happens when you're renting? You don't own it, so you can't have anything that you're going to write off. What happened to if you own your property, it's, you get the interest, not so much the insurance. I really don't know if that's the case, because we put ours in LLCs, and the reason we put it in LLCs because by having it in that position, it now is operating as a business, and as a business, I have its own LLCs, and now I get these benefits. So make sure you sign in below for more information about our class, because I'll be teaching this more and giving more detailed examples in our class. So let's just think about this. If it's nothing else that you get from being on here today, is when it comes to taxes, you are taxed. You have your income and your expenses, and then the net is what you're taxed on. Now, if you are a W-2 employee, what happened? It's the reverse. when are you taxed? Let's go over here. Well, you have after tax dollars. So meaning you get your paycheck, and when you get your paycheck, what happened? Well, paycheck is already taxes has been taken out. So you don't even get the benefit. And I think this was a mind shift for me when we started investing. Like, you understand a lot of this, but you really don't even understand it until you take action. And when you do this long enough and you execute this long enough, you start realizing, wait a minute, why were we able to pay taxes? I'll tell you this story, and I'll end with this. Me and my wife, who is, I'm blessed to have her because she just has a mind to be able to capture this information and spit it out. And she was able to help us not pay any taxes. Now, she has an accounting degree, she has a business degree, but it was her emphasizing this simple point to me over time, because when you get into the weeds of things and you so emotionally attached to, like, what does it look like? Do they like me? And all that stuff, or whatever. But you start to realize, like, this simple formula is a game changer, because you don't realize how big this expense column is. Now, there's things you need to keep in mind when you are doing this, because what does it look like for you when you're investing and you're trying to also get bank loans? Sometimes that's not favorable in the bank's favor is when you have a lot of expenses, right? So how do you overcome that? What does that look like, Jabari? So, it's one of the things that bankers call the debt service ratio. And it's a huge formula that I'm not going to get into with you guys. So if you want to know more information, I definitely inquire you guys to download my free cash flow sheet, and then we'll start seeing you more information. So if you really are serious, or you've already invested in your first property and you want to expand, you want to grow, then I think now this would be a great time to be a part of our class. So you can be with other people, you can learn, you can feel the energy, but you can also take action to expand, to grow, or just get your first property. So this is, last but not least, taxes. They have huge incentives. And what happens, you have what's called opportunity zones. What are opportunity zones? Opportunity zones are tax delay areas where if you were to invest in a selected area that the government wants people to come in and put their money in, you could potentially not even offset your taxes, like for an extended amount of time or permanently. So let's think about this. So you have people who do 1031 exchanges. And so when someone does a 1031 exchange, they have maybe, when they sell a property, they have about 90 days to be able to, not only locate the property, but 180 days to be able to close on it. And what that means is, if you don't do it within that, you're going to get taxed on that property. And so what happens is, now you're in a position where you will have to pay the taxes, and that's generally 40%. Now, a lot of people would say these opportunity zones, the fact that you can maybe put your money over 1031 exchange and put it into these opportunity zones, then you can now maybe offset those taxes almost permanently. So, and a lot of people don't understand how this works, and it's very hard to go into all this in detail sometimes, because it depends on where your tax bracket is at. It depends on how much money you make a year. And here's the reality. If you are making if you're making $50,000 to $100,000, this can have a huge impact on you. Now, if you're making over $100,000 to $250,000, the benefits that you can get from this is going to be huge, because not only when you're in a different tax bracket, the more income that you can employ into real estate and disposable income you have into real estate, it's now going to allow you to not only lower your tax bracket. Like, if you, as a real estate agent or someone who's 1099 and you're making X amount of dollars, you have this formula in your favor. And so when you structure not only your income, and when you structure everything correctly, then guess what? Now you're at a point where the taxes you're going to pay is going to be less, because remember, your income that you make, I was talking about rent, but this is still regardless of what type of business you have, your income and your expenses equals your net. And so that's what you're taxed on. So if you're W-2 employee, guess what? You're taxed after you already taxed when you get your money. You have your after home pay. So I thank you guys for joining in. I hope this was helpful. If you want to dive deeper, if you want to be more in a group setting where we can show you and teach you, download the cash flow sheet below. We have our beta group page in the description below where you can be able to learn more information. But I thank you for joining me for Cash Flow Friday. And I'll be here next Friday as well, and we'll jump into more topics. And also, when you download that sheet, you'll get notifications about the upcoming classes, even classes we'll have in person. Just everything that I think is going to help you if you're serious about investing in real estate. So I appreciate you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.